record. So everybody smile, look fabulous. There we go. Welcome, my friends. Tonight it is our 4th of 4 evenings of Advent, and we're so thankful that so many of you have showed up and just enjoyed each of these different nights. For those of you, we've got some new faces yet again joining us tonight. And so here at Sanctuary, what we try to do is make sure that you enable your video, okay? And we want to see your faces. One of the real goals we have at Sanctuary Online is to create community. And we have done that since March and since May when we went online. And you want to make sure that you're in gallery view, especially on a night like tonight when you want to see everybody's faces. So if you only see one person speaking, that means you're on speaker view. You want to go up to the right hand side top of your screen and click that over to gallery view so you can see everybody. Also, if you'd open your chat box, and I've been given some direction tonight. So what we normally do is say, open your chat box, give us your first and last name, your email address would be great, maybe where you're calling in from and how you've connected with us. And what we promise you is if you give us your email address, we will send you an email each week of what's coming up at Sanctuary Online. And we've been struggling. Ken, I think you might want to, now Ken walks away as I speak this out. We've been trying to send out Christmas cards from Sanctuary Online. And there's so many of you that are in our database. We have your phone number and we text you. We have your email and we email you, but we don't have your real live address. So if you wouldn't mind tonight, if you're not sure that your address is in our database, you can either put that right in the chat box and we'll scrape that up and we'll put that into our database. Or if you'd like that to be private, that's perfectly fine. And if you can send a message in the chat to Barb Crabtree. Barb is our database diva, and she will pick up your email address and put that in our database. And who knows, you might just see a little Sanctuary Christmas card in your future. Who knows? Ken, did I get that right? I tried to be bad cop about that. Was I okay?
Yeah, you got it right, Joby. We have over 300 people in our database. We only have mailing addresses for like a third of those.
Yeah.
And so if we need to reach you by snail mail and you don't mind if we do, just give us your mailing address. We'd appreciate that.
And we honor that, of course, just like this next slide. I'm excited that if you'd like us to text you, there's about 60 of you now that every Tuesday afternoon, we send a little text out and it says, hey, remember it's Tuesday. So here's what's happening at Sanctuary Online tonight. Sometimes we also send an extra little message on that. So if you'd like to have us text you on Tuesday afternoons, a cute little reminder, you can do the same thing. Put your cell phone number in the chat box and Barb will grab that and toss that into the database. So you've heard me. If you don't think we have your snail mail address, please put it in the address tonight as we continue to try and build the integrity of our database. So goodness, Sanctuary, again, for many of you, if you're meeting us for the first time tonight, we began by building a retreat center, preparing the building a retreat center outside of Austin, Texas. Since that time, we have expanded our brand, we call it. We've gone to sea, we've gone on the road, and in this time of COVID, we are really building community online. That's our primary way of reaching out to you and touching all y'all. So we're very happy to do that this Tuesday as we conclude our Advent series. Last week, I have to say, I'm still freaked out about the amazing conversation we had with favorite ornaments that the photos folks sent in and the pictures we had. So tonight, I just want to remind you that last week was a really great conversation. So thanks for those who participated. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, I think you still have to read The Paying Guests by Sarah Waters. Normally the last week of the month, we have a book club, but this is the last week of the month in December is Kwanzaa. So I'll share what we're doing in just a moment about that. But we're skipping our book club and moving our December book club to January. I want to make sure you know what book we're using and have plenty of time to read that. Our book club is one of the most appreciated weeks of the month. Like I said, we've often have folks that say, I didn't read the book, but I love you guys so much, I'm just going to come and hang out. So that's for January 26th. We're incredibly excited to thank everyone for this amazing Advent series. Tonight, like I said, is our 4th night. Next week, though, is Kwanzaa. And what we've done is we have reached out to a number of leaders in our community that are going to speak on each of the events. Each of the candles has a meaning in Kwanzaa. So it's going to be a teaching night and a night to have you ask questions if you'd like to. We're incredibly excited. We may go a little over just because, as you know, each of the 7 candles has a meaning, and we'll be teaching on each of those meanings. Carly, I think you're out here tonight. You're going to be one of our teachers next week. So we're incredibly excited to bring this to you. And that's going to be next week at Sanctuary Online. And yes, we have not forgotten there's a January. We've got a full lineup for January. We're filling our lineup for February. So just put Tuesday nights on your calendar. Sanctuary Online. Boom. We have to start out by thanking Kim and her daughters. They spoke and did our liturgy on week 1 for Hope. I think we only have pictures of people with goats, Ken. I was noticing that. If you don't have a picture of you with a goat, then we've met you since COVID hit. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
The next week, Hannah and Stedney, no goats here, but we really appreciated them doing Stedney, you know, is in Louisville. Hannah's in California. They did a wonderful liturgy for us, lighting the candle on week 2. And then again, Edie, Zoe, Zach, Gov, and Goats, of course. So they were able to be with us last week and do our liturgy. Tonight we have Jane Ann.
Hold on a second. I just want to say Edie and Mandy just called and they said they're all traveling back from Colorado today and they tried to get on, but they can't, but they miss everybody and they wanted you to know that they love you.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. And they have great reflections. They sent them and we'll get to them anyway. Tonight we had an international flair. So Jane Ann, thank you for joining from Canada and leading our Canadian family there. You'll lead our candlelighting liturgy in just a minute. And we'll have a teaching then from Ken. Each week he's talked to us about what the world's great living religions believe about and how they practice our weekly theme. Tonight that's going to be love. We're excited, Ken. People have so appreciated all the knowledge you've brought to the table in these teaching pieces. Then each night, we spend maybe 20 minutes or so with a community conversation. Tonight is reflections on 2020. I want to say PG, but most of the ones that have been sent in to me have been appropriate to be shared in an adult audience and intended for 2021. So as you're listening tonight, if you think of a few, we have many folks who sent those in as we requested last week, and I'll read through those and we'll chat about those. If we've got some time left over, of course, if folks haven't sent them in, but have been thinking about sharing them, we'll have time to do that. And then my goodness, Kim Wisdom, I've listened to so much of your music this afternoon as I've been preparing the PowerPoint. Kim is going to finish with her rendition tonight with Go Light Your World, a beautiful musical piece. So Kim, thanks for being here tonight and thanks for offering your gift, which is your voice, not your hand, right? Oh, okay, friends, this is your last warning then. A time, if you have an Advent wreath, great. If you don't, but you have a candle that you'd like to light, Ken and Jane Ann will lead us in a short Advent liturgy. And then at the very end, we'll light our candles together. So Ken and Jane Ann, take it away, my friends.
Thank you. And thank you, Jane Ann, for being with us this evening. This has been so meaningful to experience different kinds of families from all over the United States and now Canada, and to complete the lighting of our Advent wreath this evening. And so our liturgy tonight is about love. I will begin and Jane and I will continue the liturgy. God of light, bless this Advent candle of love, that we may be your light and warmth to all we meet in this holy season. First, we lit the candle of hope, and we saw hope as faith, always looking forward to a better world.
Then we lit the candle of peace, and we found that people of faith share God's dream of a world where peace means justice for all.
Last week, we lit the candle of joy and found that eternal joy is the assurance that God is in control of all things and in all circumstances.
Tonight, we light the candle of love. We've learned by love, by being loved. In this holy season, we wait for love to become flesh and dwell among us. So now, as a community, although we're separated by space, but united in hope and peace and joy and love, we light the fourth candle.
We light the candle of love.
Ken, last night I was at a service, a blue Christmas, and I was given a blue candle because you all know I lost both my parents this year, but this is the blue candle is the candle for all of those, that cloud of witnesses that have gone before us this year, either through illness or loss or strife or war or anything that separated them from the love of God. And so we just light in remembrance for all of those great people who have loved us and who we love.
Thank you,
Ken.
Jane Ann. That's such an important addition, to what we're doing here right now, because we know that people have lost so many loved ones whom they could not be with even, as they passed. And just being able to remember those people tonight, is really important to us. So thank you for adding that to our liturgy. And thank you, Jane Ann, for, bringing South Texas to Canada and all of us together.
And thank you. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to zoom in on her. This beautiful angel landed here today as a thank you. And she's just so precious. I can't get a focus on her. Wait a second. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Anyway, I won't take time. But she's so beautiful, and it says love on it. So I just thought that was really special. And there she is. There we go. Says love on it.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks, Jane Ann. I can see that Stephanie is on.
It's our gift to you
For each
Thank
of
you.
our readers.
for being with us and supporting us. Thank you.
Yep, and Ken, I think you sent, from Sanctuary, we sent each of the readers, were given an ornament with their word, right, on it. So
Yes,
So
yes.
Yeah.
Each of the people,
and peace.
each
and
of the
love.
families that have helped us to complete our Advent candle has received a gift from us with the word that their family represented on it.
Yeah,
Thank
that's a
you.
great idea. Great job. Okay, and Ken, it's all yours to please open up and share what the world's great living religions believe about and how they live into the concept of love.
Okay, thank you, Jovi. As those of you who have been with us know, in the past 3 weeks, we have been exploring the themes of Advent, of hope and peace and joy. And we have done that looking at 6 of the world's most prominent religions. We found a lot of similarities in what they teach, and we've also found some really significant differences. Tonight is our last night of this exploration, and so it's totally appropriate that our theme for tonight is love. And so I want to begin by saying, I love God, and I love Tom, and I love our family and friends, and I love fried green tomatoes, and I love the way sun feels on my skin in the spring. And I love the way Katharine Hepburn talks. And I love the way K.D. Lang sings. So have you ever heard that the Inuit people have 100 different words for snow?
Yes.
They actually do. And that's sort of what it's like trying to trace love through the teachings of the world's religions in the way we have been able to do that with hope and peace and joy. Because we use the word love to express so many different feelings, literally from our feelings about God to our feelings about our favorite foods. The first thing we can say about world religions is that in some way they all acknowledge this. They all acknowledge love as being this wonderful and inexhaustible source from which we can manifest in our lives and in our relationships, or we can choose not to. So let's look, first of all, closely at how some of the world's relationships talk about love in terms of these things. In the two great Eastern religions that we have talked about so far, Hinduism and Buddhism, love is seen as an eternal force which we have the option to draw into our lives and to welcome into our relationships or not. Given everything we've learned about Hinduism and Buddhism, it will not surprise you to know that everything they teach about love is about how we practice love, whether it is unselfish when we practice it. And the more we practice love in a self-sacrificing way and for the benefit of others, the more likely we are to achieve moksha, or that freedom from having to be reborn through incarnation and come back here again and again. In both of these religions, there is love that can hold us through this physical world, requiring us to be born again and again. And there is also a kind of love which can offer us the spiritual freedom that allows us never to have to return and never have to be reborn. So in Hinduism, family love, married love, any other kind of worldly love is acknowledged, it is appreciated, it is accepted, but it must always be practiced with caution. It must always be practiced carefully because it must always be sublimated to our love for God. In Buddhism, any love that
there is a spirit.
You're good, Ken.
I'm hearing some background, Joey.
I got it fixed.
Okay. In Buddhism, any love that involves any kind of obsessive attachment to another person or to anything in this physical world is a form of bondage, which literally can weigh our souls down and cause us to be continued to be bound to this physical realm. The Zen Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who wrote the book How to Love, says that understanding is the other name for love. Understanding is the other name for love, by which he means that to understand is to love another person enough to want to know what their needs are, what their cares are, and to reach out unselfishly to meet those things. He says, quote, "When our hearts are small, our understanding and our compassion are small and they are limited, and we suffer. But when our hearts expand, when our hearts open up, we have understanding and compassion, and then we are able to embrace others and care for them." So last week, we were introduced to the religion of Jainism for the first time, and their radical adherence to the doctrine of ahimsa, which is a reverence for all living things. We saw how the Jainist monks, even today, walk around the streets of India totally nude because they're afraid that wearing any clothes might somehow kill some kind of living organism. They wear masks at all times for fear that they might unconsciously inhale some living organism. They walk very slowly, carrying a small straw broom. They sweep the path in front of them for fear that they might unintentionally step on some living organism. And so the teaching of Jainism about love is that the highest form of love is total nonviolence toward any living thing. Tonight, I want to introduce you to two more of the Eastern religions that we have not mentioned yet, because the two of them also have very different understandings about the importance of love. Shinto is the most prominent religion in Japan. And Shinto says that the highest form of love is devotion to nature and the natural world. The most important deity, the highest god in Shinto, is Amaterasu, who is the goddess of the sun. And then there are many lesser minor gods who represent different parts of the physical world, like the mountains and the rivers and the forests. There is also a very strong emphasis in Shinto on family tradition and on ancestral spirits. The other religion I want to mention for the first time tonight is Taoism. Taoism is a religion that began in China about 600 years before the common Christian era, and it teaches that Tao is everything. The Tao is the energy, it is the force that animates and permeates and unites everything that is in creation. And so the purpose of human life is to live in harmony with the Tao. And in the Tao Te Ching, which is their sacred scripture, it says that the highest form of love is Shan, which is translated as self-love or self-nurturing. Now that's something we haven't heard yet, isn't it, in any religion, that the highest form of love is to love oneself, put oneself first. But in some ways, Taoism is almost like 21st century psychology, because it teaches that you must learn to do everything else in your life. You must even learn how to love other people without hurting yourself. That's the only way you can ever learn to live in perfect harmony with the Tao. Now, when we turn to the West and to the Judeo-Christian heritage, which most of us share, love is at the very center of these two religions. The primary teaching of the Torah of Judaism is love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then Jesus said, love God, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then he said, all of the other teachings of the law and the prophets are subsumed, they're contained in this one teaching: love God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, you may hear a little Taoism there, because they both say that to love others, we must first love ourselves. That means that both the Torah and Jesus were acknowledging that we are literally incapable of loving anyone else with any degree of love that we do not already have for ourselves. I think that may be something that many people in our community need to hear. The Christian scriptures, the New Testament, were originally written in Koine Greek. Koine Greek doesn't have 100 words for love like the Inuits have for snow, but it does have 6 words. They're all found in the New Testament, and I think they are the perfect way to sum up all the different ways that we as human beings love. I think you will hear here the perfect expression of each of the different kinds of love that we have mentioned so far. First, the first word that the Greeks have for love is philia. Philia means our love for friends. It's a platonic kind of love. It's like what we call sisterhood and brotherhood. It's love for the people with whom we share compatibility and equivalent values. If you take that word philia and then you put it with the Greek word for brother, which is adelphos, you get Philadelphus, that's Philadelphia, the city that is often called the city of brotherly love. So the first kind of love that the New Testament talks about is our love for our friends and our sisterhoods and brotherhoods with people who share our common values. That's the kind of love I think many of us feel for the people who join us. You know, every Tuesday night, we feel like a community of people who share so much, you know, in life. That's philia. The second kind of love that the New Testament talks about is eros. This is love that is expressed literally as physical, sexual passion. It is about physical intimacy primarily. Sometimes it's used to talk about our passion for other things in life, but it is really about physical intimacy and sexual passion. The third kind of love we find in the New Testament is called storge, and that is love for the things that surround us in this physical world. You know, I don't even have to guess that most of us love animals. We love plants. We are gardeners. We are people who have pets. And Storge describes the kind of love that we have for the animals and for nature that surround us all the time in this world. You may hear a little of Shinto in that kind of love. The Shintoism of Japan that says the highest form of love is a love for nature and natural things. The fourth kind of love is philantia, and philantia is literally our love for ourselves, not vanity, not selfishness, but the kind of love that recognizes that if we do not take care of ourselves first, we are unable to take care of anyone else. You may hear a little Taoism in that teaching about love, because Taoism says the highest form of love is self-nurturing. The fifth kind of love in the New Testament is xenia, which is love expressed as hospitality toward a guest or a stranger, such as providing housing, providing food, providing safety. This is the kind of love that Jesus was describing in the parable of the Good Samaritan, who cared for this stranger by providing him shelter and food and protection. And then the last kind of love is the great love called agape. This is the love of God for us, an unconditional love, an all-inclusive love. Unconditional meaning there is nothing you have ever done in your life, there is nothing you can ever do that can stop God from loving you. The Apostle Paul said it this way: I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else you can even imagine will ever be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus, our Lord. Agape love is often defined as our willingness to extend ourselves for someone else's benefit, someone else's good, without ever thinking about any cost to ourselves. It is putting the interest of another person above our own. And when the Torah and Jesus tell us to love our neighbors and to love ourselves, It's not any of those easier kind of loves they're talking about. It is this agape love that is asked of us. We are to love as we have already been loved by God. This concept of unconditional love is so radical that most of us can't even wrap our minds around it. And many people find it really hard to believe. And so I want to close by giving us two examples from Christian scripture just to think about. First, the Bible has been used so often to use and abuse and accuse and condemn so many of us, women, sexual minority people, people of color, divorced people, even left-handed people. People who don't know anything else about the Bible, strangely somehow know how to recite obscure ancient laws from the book of Leviticus. Laws that were important 3,000 years ago for reasons that don't even exist anymore. But here is the power of this kind of love. Listen to these words. Anyone who has ever loved another person has already fulfilled the law. That's in the Bible. Anyone who has ever loved another person has already fulfilled the law. If you've never memorized another verse in the Bible, this is a good one to remember, because the next time you hear somebody sanctimoniously extolling the Levitical law of the Old Testament, just remember, the Bible says anybody who has ever loved another person has already fulfilled the law. That's the power of this kind of love. And second, what has to be among the three most important words ever written or spoken in any language, the words God is love. That's in the Bible. And here's why it's important. Because if God is love, then love is God. And that means anytime you find God, you're going to find love. And it also means that anytime you find love, you have already found God. So whatever your capacity to love, if you love people of your same gender, if you love people of the opposite gender, if you love people of both genders, never question where that ability to love came from. Because according to the Bible, there is no other source of love in the universe. So that completes our 4 weeks of exploring these different religions. I hope that's kind of piqued some interest in you about world religions, because I want to take just a minute to tell you that in February, I'm going to be doing a two-part series here on Tuesday nights. The first part is entitled How the Great Religions Began, and the second part is entitled What the Great Religions Believe. When I was in college, my major was world religions. When I was in seminary, I was the Garrett Fellow, the teaching assistant to the chair of the Department of Comparative Religions, which meant that I taught some of his classes and graded all of his tests. And I have lived in different parts of the world with people of different religions who have taught me. And I believe that as our world gets smaller and smaller, it is more and more important for us to understand each other. And that certainly includes what we believe and how we worship. So come back and join us in February. We're going to be talking about how the great religions began and what the great religions believe. Thank you.
Okay, unmute and clap. That was fabulous.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. That
I
was
love
great.
losing control of this group, Ken, when it comes down to applause. Yeah, and we are excited as we met just, I think it was yesterday, or who knows, my days are all running together. We're meeting again tomorrow to really codify our first quarter of programming. And we're very excited, Ken, for your series. in February. And I'm going to give you a little more detail at the end of the evening, what we have for you in January as well. But tonight is about conversation now. I just have been waiting for this conversation all day today because, you know, last week I just went to bed feeling so good about the sharing. And those of you who were able to send photos in and then share about just family traditions and what's going on. And interestingly enough, for me, I'm not sure about for the rest of you, but this week has seemed to bring like Christmas and New Year's much closer than they were last week. I don't know why. Nothing happened in our home or things that, you know, there's still snow and it's freezing cold up here. But it just brought it closer. Maybe it was reading all your reflections that you sent in today about what this experience of this very interesting year, how you've taken it in and how you've processed it and how you've maybe deconstructed and reconstructed lives, families, friendships, businesses, and yet how positively we looked on it and how you projected into next year. So I'm really excited to open the conversation. And what I'm going to do is just what I did last time. I went with whoever sent me their stuff earliest. I made a little PowerPoint. Some of you were, let me just say this really politely, more wordy than others. Anyone want to raise their hand on that one? Okay, Carly, you totally win, man. But it was wonderful. And so what I did, I took a little bit of poetic license and I made some of your text smaller than other text. So mostly instead of reading, it's almost like just share, you know, from your heart. And hopefully these slides will help us out a little bit. Let me go ahead and grab the slide deck and share this a little bit. There we go. So if you can see that in your screen, tonight's community conversation, 2020 reflections and 2021 intentions. Barb, you misorganized person, were the first one to send me anything. So here's your, I hope you can see this. Can you see this that says your reflection?
Yes.
You can read it or just share briefly, Barb, and then we'll keep on going around. We have like 15 people that sent these in, so maybe a minute or so a piece would be great.
Well, you can see what I've said there. I'm just grateful to have been at Sanctuary here because were I not here, I would have gone through this year sitting in an apartment by myself. And so my heart goes out to all who are in that situation where they've had to isolate absolutely alone. And there's a meme going around on Facebook that kind of really, you know, in a humorous way, kind of wraps up and says it all, I think, talking about New Year's, saying that what they want to do is stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve, even though they haven't done that in years and years and years and years, not because they're all that excited about 2021, but just to make darn sure that 2020 actually leaves. So.
Yeah, there's some great ones coming out, Barb. I've seen one too that says, be careful, walk slowly, don't touch anything, don't break anything. Let's start 2021, you know, really carefully and try and get all the way into the year, right? Oh, well, Barb, we are so blessed that you were at Sanctuary. Interestingly enough, that you say this, while Cheryl and I had to be kind of extended away from Sanctuary. So I know it's meant the world to Ken and Tom and all the animals, and Rory, that you were there completing that community. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Kristen, I was thinking you might have been one of the winners of last week's ornament contest as well, with your 2021 ornament from your mother with the little toilet paper guy and everything. So go ahead, why don't you lift up some of your, you found us in 2020, Kristen, right? You never knew there was a Sanctuary in the Woods. You and I worked together a million years ago, and you found us through the book club, right?
Yes.
I think through a post. And
post.
yeah.
And I'm very glad for that. Very glad for that. My My reflections are something I've been thinking about, kind of like you. I think this week, all of a sudden, the realization of it coming up soon. Maybe it's because it's a short week at work. I don't know. Had fewer meetings, but I realized maybe a week or two ago that this extrovert, and I am an extrovert, really likes her alone time and the value, because it kind of takes me a long time to slow down. And no, I don't mean this as a pun, but I quite literally found my sanctuary in the woods, doing quite a bit of hiking this year, and getting away from big group hikes and going quietly by myself so I can think about everything. The other bit, and maybe I'm learning a lot about being quiet, is listening is an action. And as you said, Joby, you and I met years ago, corporate training. So this is probably a principle that came out of my mouth many times, but I've been trying to live it more in 2020, both whether it was with all the social issues. And as I noted, I went to 2 Black Lives Matters rallies, peaceful rallies. And I don't know a lot, but I know more than I did. And maybe I know I don't know a lot. So that was good. And then just having all these Zooms, and I listed all the systems we use: Zoom, WebEx, Teams, Blue Jeans, conference calls. The need to be attentive and to listen to other people is something that was really for 2020 for me to come across. For 2021, and I'll thank you for framing it as an intention, because I actually Googled the difference between resolutions and intentions because I'm a nerd. And, I said, act now, not later. I'm a procrastinator more than anything. And it's again, going back to years ago doing training, time management class was probably not the sexiest course that we ran, but I always think of being congruent. And, is what I'm doing congruent to my goals? And a lot of that is, oh, no, it's not, because I'm eating potato chips thinking about exercising tomorrow. So act now, do the workout right now, paint the room this weekend, call mom when I think of it, and just do it, and don't just think about doing it. So covers a lot of areas, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be Nike in 2021.
Well, thank you, Kristen. And thank you for being, you really have become like one of the rocks in our community here. And just,
I love this group. Let me, hold on. Which kind of love is that? That's my filial love. I love you all.
There you go. And you listen too. Look at that. You're actually living into it right here and now, Kristen.
I take notes because I'm a nerd.
Oh, fabulous. Thanks, son. Merry Christmas to you, Kristen.
Merry Christmas.
And Darcel. Where are you, my friend? Darcel, you got to go ahead and mute yourself. And I know it's been tough for you not to be at Sanctuary, Darcel, and with your brother.
With my brothers.
Yes.
And the goaties.
And the goaties.
And the chickens. And Willie.
And Willie.
So yeah, it's just been a heck of a year, because we were down there in March when all of this happened. And I tell you, I didn't want to leave because I was concerned for Tom and Ken, because, it's not a good thing to have COVID. But, I'm grateful for the intentional family that's down there, and being together on Tuesday nights is amazing. I feel like a dry sponge, and after this, I'm filled right up. So I'm grateful for Carly,
Yes.
So it's a good thing.
Can I say something, Dars?
Yeah.
I've been a part of your family of the Cole family for 46 years now. And I've expressed this to Carly, but I want to say it publicly. In all of those 46 years, nobody has come into this family more easily, with more grace, or fit more perfectly than Carly has.
Amen.
We are thankful for Carly.
You're here.
A woman with a chainsaw. Yes.
Yes, baby.
Oh, so your hope, Darcel, for next year is actually to be there, to be together again, and hopefully to welcome so many new folks that we've met online that now
I
need
tell
to
you what,
find their way.
I miss my Ken Martin hugs.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure everyone that has
Yes.
ever had a hug from Papa knows exactly what I'm talking about.
100%. 100%. Tony Krug. Tony is the head of our Sanctuary at Sea ministry. I'll call it that. It's kind of a very social ministry. Tony wasn't able to be here. So many of our folks couldn't be here, but they sent reflections anyway. And I just couldn't help but post Tony's. My reflection on 2020 is that it sucked. My intention for 2021 is that it will not suck. I'm like, Kristen, you know, when you teach a class, you're like, if you only take one thing away from this class, well, this would be it.
Got the point. Definitely got the point.
He's got a point. So Tony has made Christmas cookies with his sisters. He had some great ornaments last week. But anyways, always a part of our community. I love that man.
Yeah.
Oh, Carly, dear God, I think you just need to speak yours, honey.
Well, it was a lot.
It was beautiful. It was profound, Carly, in, again, like I said, so many of us, we took what 2020 gave us and then you deconstructed it and you put it back together, you know, to make sense for you. And so I tried to hit a few of the high points there, but I thought your 7 stages of loss about really meeting people who you thought you knew was probably something that a lot of folks here would resonate with tonight.
Yeah, it was difficult to, I guess I always knew that a lot of my family and friends had different political views than I did, but I didn't realize the extent of it until we got into this election cycle and watching the news and hearing them talk about things and seeing what they post on Facebook. And sometimes it just made me cringe. I couldn't believe that I was related by blood or by choice. And it really made me consider whether I was going to remain speaking to them because I was so, I don't know, offended isn't even a strong enough word. I was just downright hateful. I was just mad that I would have people in my family that were so affiliated with the tangerine turd that it made me mad.
So Carly, I'm gonna paraphrase here. And you said that while many folks got your Portuguese temper to boil over,
Yes.
you learned that to hear as a person, almost like tied back to Kristen's, to be patient while folks argue their facts and to try to see their point of view. And here's what I loved. If I can't see it their way, we can agree to disagree and I can still love them, even if they're not a liberal hippie like you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for Darcel because she does really keep me grounded because my temper more so than not has been flaring. It's calmed down since the election, thank God, but it just would kind of take off a little bit, and always a hug and a smile from her really just brought me back to what's important, and that's just us being together in our families. So.
Yeah, thank you. You know, and when I went tonight, later on, we're gonna appreciate all the families that helped us do this Advent and all the vocalists, Darcel, and Darcel sang the second week. Darcel, I was looking for a photo of you, and when Carly said here that your hug and your smile, in every picture, your smile, Darcel, my God. I don't care if you're with politicians, if you're with goats, if you're with, you know, the U.S. Post Office, people doing your thing, your smile just was in every photograph. The service you do in church, when you sang, when you provide communion, you have so many pictures with so many important people in the world. And I just thought, yeah, Carly, yeah, you got a smile there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Boom. Dr. Aaron, you're safely not driving anymore.
Yeah.
It's on you, my friend.
Oh, thank you everyone for letting me share. So 2020 was about recognizing that which I don't want in my life. And I think the gift of 2020 has been clarity, right?
Yeah.
It was a year to remind us what mattered. And despite the noise, an internal intuitive voice could be heard saying this had to happen. Things had to change. We need a path out of darkness. And that Christmas and Hanukkah are the seasons of light, lights of hope, light of giving, light of compassion. And so, you know, I walked into 2020 saying, you know, 2020 vision, but I think we can learn from our 2020 vision, albeit in hindsight, that 2021 can be where we radically become alive.
Yeah.
That we love big, extravagantly, and unconditionally. And so 2020 has given me the gift of clarity, almost a waking up to my life. And I would never have thought that I wasn't fully awake in my life, but it's been a great gift in that respect.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Erin. And thank you for being a part of our journey and your journey as that has kind of worked its way out this year, right? Absolutely. I want to click over, Cheryl, I want to click over to yours when you talk about when Erin talks about 2020 vision and clarity, it connects nicely with yours. We're going to go a few minutes over, folks. Just, you know what? Enjoy.
Yeah, it was funny just listening to that because that was last January when Joe and I were on our relationship retreat. That was the thing that I told Joe was that 2020 means 2020 vision to me. So it was my intention then to seek clarity for all aspects of life. And for me, you know, though there's been a lot of scary, sad, weird things this year, I haven't felt like 2020 to end like a lot of people have felt like. I felt like, you know, it's just about seeing how different people are, how different they can be, and how much we really don't know or understand each other. And I don't know, for me personally, I've finally let go of trying to find my passion that's going to change the world type of thing, but discovering that, you know, I'm already doing it, you know, just noticing little things and getting the things done that we need to do and enjoying doing them, you know. I don't know what 2021 is going to bring. For my reflection, I'm like, I think that the 2020 reflections as they continue will probably just give birth for new intentions for 2021. But like many of you have said, the one thing that I've really dearly missed and become very clear about is that being with people and loving them and being able to hug them in person and be there in their own energy and stuff is a gift that we cannot take for granted any longer. And that was very clear. So
yeah, thank you, Cheryl.
Sure.
Yeah, we look forward one day. Cheryl and I always do an annual relationship retreat in January, and we kind of look back to the year prior in different categories of our lives, professional and financial and social and relational, spiritual. And then we look forward and we try and go away to somewhere beautiful to do that. And
Take a walk.
it's served us real well. We wanted to teach that in Sanctuary someday and bring couples down, you know, for a couple weeks in January and do that work together. And I guess we're going to put that off a little bit further. Another year or so, we'll put that away. Lisa, a tough year for you too, my friend, losing both of your parents this year. And I just wanted to lift you up and give you a minute because you've snuck in on us and been a part of our Sanctuary Online community as well.
Thanks, Jovi. I just do want to say I saw that you passed Jane Ann. You know, so you're the captain here, but if you want me to go, I'll go. All right.
I'll go back.
So, all love. Thank you for getting me choked up with just those couple of words, which I'm very happy to be choked up. I think that just this message and something that God always seems to to put in my path. The last time something big like this happened, I lost my job, divorced me, if you will. And it gave me actually such a blessing to be able to spend well over the last 2 months with my grandmother, who was 100 years old, but still playing bridge and, inviting the girls in the 70s and 80s to play bridge. And she was doing the flower arranging and the luncheons and all of that kind of stuff. So I was truly blessed. And, it's so easy to be distracted. And so what came to me today was, distraction's a thief. And we spend so much of our lives being distracted. And that, this pause, this forced, none of our plan to be forced into pausing. But then the realization that distraction is such a thief. Fear is also a thief. And then connection is essential. And we realized that while we weren't going to be able to be physically able to connect, we found ways. Boy, did we find ways to connect. And, the joy in the Zoom meetings with my staff and, people that I connected with. My husband's a class of 1974 United States Naval Academy, and all these gentlemen are getting on the Zoom to reminisce on a monthly basis. And it's just a joy to hear the sea stories. Some sea stories I haven't heard because Bill was a Marine and they're all sailors. But the connection, it was critical to us humanly to find a way. And how amazing are we that we did that, and that we will continue to do that, and that we're looking forward to the time that we can touch. Bill and I are doing flyby Christmas visits tomorrow. We have a social distance fire pit in a driveway to see our young son. And exchange gifts in a very socially distanced way, jump in the car and then go see my auntie and uncle down to the south, and leave a mince pie that my uncle missed last year because of stuff that was going on in my family. Yeah. And then staying open is living. And Joby, you and I have talked about this, and that idea of how easy it is to be closed off, to be so distracted that you stay closed off, but then to truly, just stay open, wait for the feels, and then when the feels come, be with them. And so I truly appreciate this time that I've had with Sanctuary, and of course always the time that we have. So I just offer those things. I'm looking forward to 2021. I don't want to write on another Christmas card virtual hugs and elbow bumps. So
oh, Lisa, God bless
just
you.
want to say
no.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. It is, I think the joy of Sanctuary Online is, if I tried to connect a line between all these little boxes, it just would be almost impossible except for here. And thank you. Thank you for that. Again, many of us know people who have lost someone during this time of COVID. And to know that you've lost both your parents this year during COVID, and same Jane Ann, that you've lost both your parents this year. Our hearts just go out to you, and we just hold you in prayer. This is, we always say that Sanctuary Online is a safe while challenging community. The challenging is in thoughtfulness and new thinking and expansion. And yet the safe is that this is a place to be and to be loved and to be, just bring in who you are. And I know when you hear Kim's song in just a moment, Lisa, and Jane Ann, I just ask that you both wrap yourselves in that. I know we're a little bit over. We have two more. I want to say, Jane Ann, maybe real quickly, the gift I got from your reflection, Jane Ann, was just in the challenge of the year that you've had, you also expanded a podcast and took your business to a whole new level, like inexplicable new level. And yet with the great loss of both your parents, who I know that you have cared for since I've known you, Jane Ann, 20 years, you have been right there for your parents, and it's impacted everything about your life. Cheryl and I are always amazed. And I think part of why we do what we do for our parents is because of who you have been, Jane Ann, as an inspiration to us. If we can care for my mom and for her dad in the same way you've cared for your parents, you will have just provided a great service by being who you are. Yeah. I don't know if you can speak right now, but what I loved you said was the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just reading what I wrote, and I truly have felt an outpouring of love and support all of this year. And to be honest, I just went about caring for my parents and doing what I needed to do. I never really reached out for help or support, but this year I really needed it desperately. As I came into 2020, I knew at some gut level things were going to change huge and radically. And so, but the joy of the Lord, although the grief lurks right underneath it, the joy of the Lord truly has been my strength. And that's, and the support has strengthened me. So that's what I want. That's how I want to live in 2021. And I guess now that I don't have, my responsibility as the essential caregiver is gone to my parents, but I want to provide that same compassion and caring to some clients that I'll handpick that otherwise couldn't afford to have therapy. And so that's really going to be a little mission I have. And I'm not going to say much about it. I'm just going to go about doing it. And that I know that the joy of the Lord in doing it will strengthen me and continue to do so. But I can melt down into a puddle in a second. So
I know you
we'll
can.
see.
We'll
see how that goes.
No,
but thank you all. Thank you all. The community has been very
We got you, Jamie.
gracious.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Ken, why don't you close us, and then we're gonna thank some people and go right into Kim's song. And during Kim's song, I was just thinking that we could just maybe lift our candles, and I'm going to spotlight just different photos of you. So each of us can, as we close this Advent season, we can look at each other's faces and just acknowledge and appreciate the people who've been in community with us. So just so you know, I'm going to spotlight you, different ones of you. So you don't need to be, just be careful. That's all I'm going to say. Ken, a closing reflection and intention.
What happened? Where's your Paul?
And Ken, Mr. COVID, by the way, you're on pause, Ken. But just reminding folks that you were our first surprise, catching COVID right away in March. As soon as we learned to spell it, you caught it. And as a long hauler, you're actually still feeling impact, from the disease. So Ken, go ahead, unmute yourself and share. You got to unmute, Ken. There you go. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Thank you, Joby. Yeah. My reflection was simply that this has been an extremely humbling year for me, not only because I had COVID and survived it, but because I became aware of how blessed my life is, how full and rich everything is in my life. I have everything I need, and I took a big, huge. Tom and I support a food pantry here in Maynard that's sponsored by the Little Episcopal Church here. And I took a big box of food up there today. We've been doing that every week. And just the realization that I'm not hungry. Our freezer is full, our refrigerator is full, but there are people right here around us who are hungry, who are homeless, people who are worried about how they're going to take care of their children and their parents and their families. That my reflection is that this has been a humbling experience, and I am more grateful than ever for the abundance that is in my life, and that I intend next year as an intention, to find even more generous ways to be able to express that. And I want to introduce Kim's song. When we talked about trying to find musicians to end each of these four, all the sanctuary team will remember that the very first name I mentioned was Kim Wisdom. I said, you know, if we do this, Kim has to sing for
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Kim's ministry of music has been an inspiration to all of us for so many years. And for those of you who don't know her, you know, just open your heart and just listen to this. This is from Kim's album. We've already said that next year we're going to be doing a series called Meet the Artist, and Kim will be one of the artists that we introduce to you in that series next year. So this is kind of a preview. You know, this is just a little appetizer of what you're going to get next year in the Meet the Artist series. This is Kim singing Go Light Your World.
I was going to do a bit of advertising first, but Kim, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and play this and allow folks to really enjoy.
There is a candle in every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings a fire, ignites a candle, and makes his home. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. Frustrated love, see how he's trying to light his own candle somehow way. See now your sister, she's been robbed and lied to.
Jordan.
Still hold the candle.
Happy holidays, everyone. Love you.
Happy holidays. Love you, Jordan.
Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the Lord.
Kristen.
So happy to have found you all.
Hold out your candle for all to see. Take your candle.
So, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. We're going to unmute ourselves. It's too late now.
We are a family. We are blazing. So let's raise our candles and light up the sky. Oh, Holy Spirit.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Make us begin in the darkest time. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the helpless, deceived and torn. Hold out your candle.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Love you guys.
Oh. Never.
Oh, yeah. Happy holidays. I was so trying to read. God bless.
Kim Wisdom, everybody. Come on, unmute and give that some love.
Yeah.
Kim.
Awesome.
Kim.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh,
Thank
so
you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. My goodness.
Love it.
You were, Kim. Like Ken said, your name came up and that was it. So thank you for bringing us home. We mean that in the most important ways. And yes, read your book. Hold on here. Yes, get ready for Kwanzaa. We're very excited about next week. But we do want to thank deeply Kim and Morgan and Mackenzie on week 1 for our liturgy. We sent them a Christmas ornament as well, Jane Ann. And then
Okay.
Stephanie and Hannah across the US, they did theirs. Edie and Zoe and Zach were with us last week. And Jane Ann, thank you so much for each of you to offer us our opening candle lighting liturgy.
You're welcome.
So important. And man, every week we're so blessed. Ken, you sang Some Children See Him that first week. It was so beautiful, all those photos of the ways we can envision Jesus. So, so beyond many of what our churches teach us, right? What we see. Darcel, with your peace on earth. Oh my goodness. I'm still, I'll never forget hearing that. Jane, I know Jane's here. Jane and Camille, you're here too, both of you. Jane, you guys are blessed last week. We know you guys had a tough week last week, but we were so blessed by your joy to the world. I called it a medley because you were just fabulous, and we really appreciated that. And this picture of Darcel, I know you need this hug from Tom, Darcel, and Darcel, I'm sure you need this hug from your sister as well. But Ken and Kim, many folks don't know that you used to sing together. So I loved finding these photographs of you all today. And just, we live in a community that is so talented and so rich and so generous. I just, all we can say is thank you so much. Ken, you did so much work for pulling this Advent series together. Our first ever, and our first of many. Obviously, every week, you all, we learn what we can do with Sanctuary Online and how we can expand our community. And all we want you to do is bring a friend. You know, we're free. We're going to stay free. We've talked about our 2021 financial plan. We are going to keep Tuesdays just open. We're not going to monetize it. We're going to bring on great speakers and continue to bring inspiration, you know, education, safety, love, laughter, and fun to this community. So, man, you have made that all happen. So let me Who's gonna love on you?
Thank you so much, Joby.
Unmute yourselves, my friends, and give each other some love. God bless.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
New Year. Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There you go. There's the logo.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Be safe. Make good choices. Jane and Camille, thanks so much again. Carmen, good to see you.
Thank
Hannah,
Thank you, Joby.
Stephanie,
Thank you.
Thank
Linda, Jordan,
Jane,
Bonnie, Chuck and Albert, Jim and Jim, Eric,
Jim and Jim.
were there for a while.
Joe B.
Yes, Jane Ann.
All the shortbread got shipped, so everybody watch for it in the mail.
Eric, you got 2 boxes put in the mail today from Jane Ann. So I can't wait. We know we want to see. Post your pictures of opening Jane Ann's beautiful shortbread boxes and you eating them. Post those on Sanctuary Facebook page, man. Let's just
Thank you.
sell some shortbread next year. Fabulous, Jane Ann. Thank you so much.
Good
I
night,
didn't
everybody.
send you any.
Bye. Good night.
Love y'all.
Thanks, Jordy.
Good to see
Night.
you, Jordy.
Thank you. Have a good Christmas.
Bye, gang. Bye, Carmen.
Bye,
Thanks so much. Bye,
Beyond
Lisa. Love
Kwanzaa.
you. Bye, Cynthia.
Bye.
Bye, Eric. Carly and Darcel. Fabulous. Nice outfits.
Thank you. We're not a house divided,
No.
only
Never.
between 10 and 1 o'clock
Oh, man.
Sunday.
Love you. All right.
Bye, Cynthia. Happy
Good night,
holidays.
everybody. Good night,
Bye.
Cynthia. Good
Bye.
night, y'all. Night, Tom.